We just wrapped up Breakfast with Tiffanie, and I wanted to give you a quick recap of some of the topics that we covered today. Now, for a little bit of fun, because we do typically have a little fun, we did have a Star Trek versus Star Wars discussion. It was short, so if you're not a nerd, that's okay. You didn't miss. It was good. We talked about being proactively lazy or efficient, however you might want to look at it. How can we get things done and not forget them? What are the systems that we put in place to make that happen? And one other fun conversation, we talked a teeny bit, not much, about Stitch, who is one. I'm not a big favorites kind of person. Like, I don't like, here's my favorite this, here's my favorite that. Though I am a Stitch fan, I think he's just a little mischievous. He's got lots of fun things that he can do. And he's a good guy at heart, even if we didn't know that about him in the beginning. Now, when it comes to the referral questions, we did have several amazing questions. How can I use Facebook groups to really get those referrals flowing, both proactively and reactively? We talked about how to be specific about a referral request. How do we add employees and downlines to our team? What should we be doing in order to get people to pay attention to us when we're asking for the referrals? Even talked a little bit about tag team referral generation. And that actually is what I want to share. A little clip here from the full Breakfast with Tiffanie. It's an hour long. You get to ask your questions, get some answers. This is part of the More with Tiffanie membership, which currently you can do the Breakfast with Tiffanie for no charge for the next couple of months, though this will be an exclusive members only perk come the second half of 2022. So I hope you enjoyed this clip from our Breakfast with Tiffanie, and I hope you join us for an upcoming event. Happy networking, y'all.
I have a question, Tiffanie. Good morning.
Good morning, Dennis. Good to see you.
Good to see you. So I work B2B, business coaching, BNI member, and with a specific ask, I would love to ask for like an introduction to a specific business owner that's local. However, I don't know that business owner is in the market for business coaching services. What are your thoughts around that? Should I be, painting a picture of the type of business owner, or really going for that specific and seeing if, they're open to it? Because a couple of times I've gotten that introduction and had a conversation, and, it just wasn't a comfortable conversation.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm hearing lots of like many underlying questions. I think that it's going to take me a few minutes to answer, because I want to kind of address a handful of different things within the question. But essentially, when I'm asking people for referrals, how specific should I be? Even if I don't know if they're in the market for me or not.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of specificity. I like to use the saying, be specific to be terrific. So anytime we can be very focused, even to the name of the person or to the name of the company, I think it helps our referral sources know exactly who to look for. Now, what we could do is a little overview and a specific. So I remember back in my promotional products day, my goal is I wanted to do business with one of the local car dealerships. And so when I was talking to people, I'd say, I love to work with car dealerships like the Furman dealership on 54. So I kind of gave, here's the category, and then a specific ask. And it was interesting during that month, because I was going for car dealerships. I don't remember if it was June or July, but it was one of the summer months. And I was asking the entire month for car dealerships. Anywhere, everywhere I went, I'm like, the Furman dealership on 54. It's 1.2 miles from my house. I actually walk through their parking lot when I walk around my neighborhood often. And I wanted them as a client. And in my promotional products day, never, ever got them as a client. However, during that month, I was referred to and got 5 new clients that were different car dealerships. And so it's interesting how sometimes that specificity can go from, really, we've got this focus, here's one person or one company, and people can work their mind way out. Like, oh, I don't know the Furman dealership on 54, but how about the Mini Cooper dealership on 54? How about the Nissan on 56? And they're like, does that work too? And yes, it does. You never know. So I love the idea of being very specific, though you can also be kind of general. So if I'm looking for, I want to work with a chamber of commerce, I could say I love working with chamber of commerce, like and then pick one of the chambers that I'd like to speak with. And so you can kind of go both ways for it. Now, as far as are they qualified, I think a lot of times it's going to take a little bit of time, energy, and effort on how to make that introduction. And so if I'm asking for what's one company or one person you'd love to work with, if you want to give me their first name or the company name that you think might maybe kind of be a good fit.
Yeah, there's a hockey company. I know they have like coaching and they have some retail, and
Okay.
the guy's name is, I think it's David Hinkey or something like that.
Okay. So I might do my ask, like at BNI this week, I might say, okay, who here knows David Hinkey at the hockey company? And maybe get a show of hands. And then I say, okay, I would love to powwow with you for a minute or two after the meeting and come up with a game plan for how to get me into the door with David. And then if I know there's 2 or 3 people in my chapter that know who David is, then I can say, let's say this was the people from the chapter that know who David is. I might say, okay, Sarah, you know David. Do you have plans to see him anytime in the next week or two? Oh, you're going to see him at the yacht club, or the sailboat race club, whatever. Sweet. So do you mind asking these 1 or 2 questions for me? So I could get her to do a little fact finding to see if he would be a good fit. Or I could say, and in the conversation, can you bring up this about me? Say Dennis this and Dennis that. Just name drop. Don't necessarily refer me. Now, Wendy, you said you were going to see David in a couple of weeks at this event at the end of April. Could you ask these questions, or could you say these things about me? Just beginning to create some buzz. And then we're going to send Fran in for I'd say for the kill, but for the conversion, because she's seeing him for the May the 4th Be With You party that's happening on May 4th. There you go. And so while you're there, can you ask him these questions? Can you mention this about Dennis? And because I know you have an amazing relationship with him, would you be willing to try and set up the appointment on my behalf? Now, this takes a little bit more time, energy, and effort than one of the 3 ladies just calling up and saying, hey, David, can I have Dennis give you a call? But I think we're creating some buzz. We're creating some expectation. I mean, if we think about watching a new TV show or a new movie, there's usually trailers and people talking about it. And here's what's going to happen. And there's a little buildup happening. And what may happen is that David from the hockey company is like, wait, this is the 3rd time I've heard about Dennis in the past month. The universe must be pointing me to the direction of I should be doing business with him, or at least be open to having a conversation with him.
I absolutely love that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And taking that next level, sometimes if I feel like people in my chapter aren't being as responsive as I want them to be, I might go to LinkedIn or Facebook prior to the meeting and say, okay, who knows them? And I understand, like, I'm a LinkedIn, I will say yes to everybody on LinkedIn pretty much. I don't, there's no limits for LinkedIn friends. So I just say yes all the time. Some people do, some people don't. But so if you said, hey, Tiffanie, do you know David from the hockey company? I may or may not, but I'm going to make my list of here's everybody in my chapter that is connected to him. And I'll be like, look, y'all, well, maybe not y'all, that's the Southern in me coming out. Look, y'all, I am really wanting to work with David. And I see that Fran and Wendy and Sue and Mary and Tom and John are all connected with him on LinkedIn. I'd love to chat for you a minute to see what level your relationship is. And so you can actually go in with that intention if you want. And so sometimes it's almost like, let me make a list of my top 5 or my top 10 dream clients, ideal clients. And you can kind of almost work this as a cycle. A week or 2, let me figure out who knows David, come up with a game plan for the next month or 2 with him. And then the next week or 2, let's say, what's our game plan to go meet with Susie, and just pick different people. And then that way you're working them in a cycle, because very rarely with this kind of long-term investing, I like to call this tag team referring. It does usually take a little bit longer to pay off than just the one-off. However, it's an opportunity. Now, if you happen to be talking to somebody and they are like BFFs with David. They know him well. He will do anything that they tell them to do. Then you might just go straight for the referral. But I know sometimes those bigger clients, the higher paying clients, can take a little bit more energy and work to get into.
Got it. Love it. And I
Awesome.
do have one follow-up question, if that's okay?
Yes.
Yeah, when I'm like having one-to-ones and, James profile and that stuff, I don't niche as far as industry, but I have a client profile. Generally, I say between 3 and 10 employees. They're generating between $1 and $5 million a year of income. Would you get more specific than that?
Great question, Dennis. I answer that plus many others in our full replay of the Breakfast with Tiffanie, which is included in either the Referrals for Life community membership or the More with Tiffanie membership. That is your perk. You get all the recordings of all the Breakfast with Tiffanie. Happy networking, y'all. Again,